Tariff is not a new weapon for this world. Mostly the nation dominating in the world implements tariff on others to show their powers, even to be more powerful. But the time is not always same. Sometimes when there are some more powerful giants standing right in front of you, then it is not an easy task. The same thing is happening with US. President Trump thought that I will implement tariff on all over the world and the whole world will easily pay taxes to US. But things are not that simple. Mr. Trump is facing huge reactions not only from one nation but from all over the world. Not even a single country lie in this world who is happy with this Trump's tariff. No doubt for an eye wash, Trump completed some huge business deals with some renowned nations like Japan, like EU. What US is gaining from that business deals? If we talk about Japan, even after business deal, Japan is not happy with US. Remember, Japan is the biggest ally of US in the region, but many news are in market that Japan is going to be a part of BRICS. And what about EU? Yes, EU announced a biggest business deal along with President Trump. But that deal is still on one leg as many of EU member countries are not happy with this deal and they don't want it to be accomplished. This is happening the first time in the history that whole world is looking for alternate markets for their businesses rather than US. For instance, even if we think that US successfully fulfilled tariff deals with any country, so what will happen? If US is implementing on average 15 to 20% tariff on any country, that country will bring their products to US. They will add that 15 to 20% tariff value in the value of that product, which ultimately will increase the price of that product and US consumer will have to pay that increased price money, which is actually a tariff money. So who is going to be the ultimate victim of this tariff? This is US consumer. But this is the next step of this tariff game. For now, US make new enemies rather than friends. Even US friends can be seen sitting inside enemies. Either it's Brazil, India, or Japan. BRICS is standing like a giant in the world. No doubt US is a superpower. No country, no single country in the world can face US alone. But it is US who is giving a chance to other nations to think that how can defeat the power of US. And this is happening now under the umbrella of BRICS. Many nations are planning that how they can stand together to face US. China, Russia are big players trying to defeat US, trying to defeat dollar in the world. In this new world order, weapon of war are changed now. Now it is not the war of mass weapons, but now the first step of war is to defeat the economy of your opponent. Then there will come the second step, that may be the war with weapons. China is controlling the big market of the world along with Russia. China is controlling almost 95% of rare earth of this world. Even US is requesting China for some rare earths on which China is strongly standing. On the other hand, Russia selling their oil freely even after the sanctions of US. And no country is more fearful from US to not to buy that Russian oil, because many countries are buying Russian oil on cheap prices. What US is gaining from this worldwide tariff? For now, not even a single penny. Orders are canceling, people are losing their jobs, businesses are cutting their profits, companies are looking at different markets for their businesses. Just a few around flatters around President Trump are telling him that all is well and sir, you are going to make this nation great again. The same words you can hear from Mr. Trump, always speaking that US is going to be more great, especially in my this second term. But the situation far different than this thinking. World is looking different market for their businesses rather than US. And there is a great person inside US who is only thinking that he can make US great by taking tariff from whole world. Not only from whole world but even from their own businessman community. Mr. Trump's complete concentration is on taking tariff from everyone. He thinks that he can run US with the income of tariff only. For now, how much tariff he collects? And who knows, due to this tariff, how many enemies are standing right in front of US. Tariffs start hitting back in US. US farmers are facing the fertilizer prices going high and eating up their whole year profit. This is why, because all over the world, the most of the countries are canceling their shipments from US due to high rate of tariffs. Trump thought that I'll impose tariff on all over the world and the whole of the world will head down right front of me by saying yes, boss. But the situation is different on 360 degree. Not even a single country is happy with these US tariff war. This tariff changes the whole world's politics. Many of US allies are standing right front of him in the face of their enemies. Different blocs are getting more strengthened against US and BRICS is one of them. Many US allies can seen inside BRICS, either it's India, one surprising country, Japan, who started building relation with BRICS. And now the days are not so far when the world will see Japan standing inside BRICS. So what US is gaining from these tariffs? $1 trillion deals which are still in papers. And who knows, they will change into profit or will remain in the papers. On the other hand, China is getting more strengthened. There are several businesses which are under control of China. Every country who is impacting by US tariff, they are trying to find different routes, different markets for their businesses. Countries are watching toward China, toward Russia. This is the third world war which started with US tariff. Countries are damaging their opponents not with weapons but through economy. Now the question is what US is producing. US is the biggest producer of weapons, modern mass weapons, but they don't understand that mode of the war is changed now. The weapons are changed now. The weapons are different now. World is hitting back US not with weapons but with economy. Now the situation is totally different in all over the world. What US wants China to buy H-20 chips from them, but China denies. US wants rare earth materials like magnets from China, but China denies. US want the world not to buy oil from Russia, but everyone is moving towards Russia, either it's India, Germany, Beijing to buy Russian oil. US want India not to do business with Russia, China, but India is standing now in different block of the world. Many countries of EU are doing business with Russia. So what these tariffs are impacting on US and on all over the world. US dollar is trending down more down than upward. US dollar is trending more down than upward. History will tell that the statement of Mr. Donald Trump that US is leading the world just from last year since from I am the president of United States of America is true, or history is going to write this tenure of Mr. Trump with red mark. American national debt reached at $35 trillion in 2025. So what US is doing to come out of this? President Trump is trying to help dollar with cryptocurrency and gold. Analysts are saying it is the worst condition of US finance in the history. Washington is very eager to solve the problem of declining dollar. So what Mr. Trump is doing in this worse situation? He's not going to stand besides their friendly countries, and he's not trying to convince them for combined businesses. Despite of all these, he is threatening them for tariff. Trump is forcing European Union to impose 100% tariff on India and China as a punishment of purchasing Russian oil. And in reaction, what EU is doing? EU is doing good business deals, almost of billions of dollars with China and India. Mr. Putin is not coming in the hand of US. Trump threatens him, and after that threats, he met with him on a short notice in his country to convince him to work with him. But Mr. Putin have strong power in himself. He is not going under the pressure of US. He is doing what he want to do. Meanwhile, China held a huge military blade after a long time, in such a crucial time when the world is facing a recession situation. China shows his power to the world, to US. The whole US enemies was gathered around Mr. Xi Jinping in that parade. Either it's Russia or even North Korea, first time in the history. It was a clear message that China was showing US that now there is a new world order and China along with Russia is going to lead that. US is a big power, rather a superpower, but the boat is sinking due to their own bad decisions. Because Mr. Trump thinks that he can rule the world with force. But this is not the right decision. He make many enemies due to this tariff who is actually becoming a terror not only for the world but even for US economy, for dollar. Despite of his every struggle, Mr. Trump is not getting successful to stand his fellow powers against Russia. Because Russia is a big power, and when Russia stands with China, it becomes a giant. So the US must have to realize the power of Russia and China. And nowadays, more powers are gathering around China and Russia, like India, Brazil, and some of Muslim countries like Iran, Pakistan, and many more. Good policies in right way make your power more strong. But the wrong policies, even in right way, cannot help you for getting out of your problems. US must have to understand this. But the trade war has gone into contest of symbols now. Each side look for ways not to attack others' economies, but its very identity now. US continuing taxes, tariffs on and China is also answering with countermeasures. China is restricting US in different ways, somewhere by banning businesses and somewhere by blocking trades. This trade war might be changed into mass weapon war, and that will be the black day of the world. To avoid that black day, US must have to start countermeasures right from now. Mr. Trump have to understand that with force he cannot gather more power. If you want to rule the world, you will have to work smoothly and do not ignore any country of the world despite stands with your fellows, your allies, to make your power more strong. Now the trade disputes are becoming turning into something far larger. Now what is happening in the world when US is imposing tariff on the world is also imposing tariff on US in reaction. You can ignore the small powers, you can ignore the small economy countries, but what about the big countries? What about China, Russia, India, EU? These countries are also willing to impose big tariffs on US. Now the time have come when the Washington must have to understand that they can business smoothly with their allies not only by force but with good work relations.